Number 5 on this list is the SS Jassim. The SS Jassim was a Bolivian cargo ferry back some 20 years ago. Going in for a typical cargo mission back in 2003, the crew and the boat suffered a grim fate. The vessel sunk on the Wingate Reef off the coast of Sudan. After some extensive research, I was actually unable to discover how many people survived from the crash back then, so if you guys know the answer to that, then please let me know. I will say though that they were pretty close to the coast, so I would have hoped that those on board made it back to land. The boat never did though, and now you can see it from Google Earth still resting where it sunk 20 years ago. In fact, this wreck is said to be the largest shipwreck that you can find on Google Earth, and it honestly does look really big. Like, that is one massive boat that is almost fully capsized right there. If it wasn't for the fact that someone lost a whole lot of money and the crew got in serious danger, it would honestly be pretty cool. Also, one thing that makes this a little bit more mysterious is that nobody knows really why the boat sunk in the first place. Like, did it hit the reef and then just capsize? If that is what happened, then why did the captain of the boat drive straight into the reef? Was it a human error thing, or did something malfunction on the boat? Comment down below what you guys think caused this crash back in 2003. Number 4 on this list is the Kazakhstan pentagram. The Kazakhstan pentagram is just the perfect fuel for conspiracy theorists everywhere. And honestly, I don't even blame them that much, because this thing is super creepy and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. The massive star is located on the southern shore of the Upper Tobol Reservoir. The weirdest thing, other than having a massive star imprinted on the Earth, which is already pretty weird to begin with, is the fact that there isn't a single human settlement for 12 miles. Having no human settlement near a massive star that has a diameter of 366 meters is definitely pretty questionable. So what the hell is this thing doing here, and how did it get here in the first place? Well, we're all thinking it, so I'll be the one to say it. Aliens. This theory's been thrown around a bunch by those who've examined this photo, and it does make sense. Why would humans come out in the middle of nowhere and build something like this? Then again, by that same logic, why would aliens come to a completely new planet and build this thing either? Another reason why the star might be here is because it was used in ancient rituals for worshipping the devil. The bizarre symbol looks like it could have had a religious quality to it, and maybe might have been part of some nefarious cults many years ago. One archaeologist thinks they found the answer and has chalked the discovery up as being the outline of a park. Stars were a popular symbol in the Soviet era, and the archaeologist believes that they made a park in the shape of a star, and the world just collectively forgot about it. Up to this point, nothing has been confirmed either way, so we may never know the true origins of this creepy shape. Number 3 on this list is the Badlands Guardian. The Badlands Guardian is a name that's been given to a very interesting geological wonder in Alberta, Canada. The site can only be seen from Google Earth or high in the sky, and it's really super creepy. As you can see, the Google Earth discovery looks exactly like a person wearing potentially a First Nations headdress. And what's really cool about this find that can't really be said for a whole lot of the other Google Earth finds is that it was completely made from the earth. Through natural erosion of rainwater on the clay that's there, this image has formed and created what we see there now. No human intervention has taken place at all. In fact, the only thing that we included was that tiny little white thing in the middle of the photo, which funnily enough kind of looks like some Apple earbuds. Honestly, kind of surprised we haven't seen this dude pop up on an Apple commercial yet, because that would work perfectly. It's fun to look at now and a really cool wonder of nature, but it definitely would have been scary if you were the first person discovering this. It reminds me a lot of the movie The Mummy, where the antagonist, the mummy, haunts the sand and goes after people. Luckily for us, that isn't the case here, and now it just acts as a super cool Google Earth tourist spot for those who like to look things like that up. Number 2 on this list is a giant sea monster. Too big to be a shark and too fast for a whale, so what is the mystery creature captured by Google Earth off the coast of New Zealand? That's the title of an article by the Daily Mail about the Google image that we're referencing here. As you can see in the photo, there's a massive long black creature lurking in the waters of New Zealand. Some people have chalked this up as being the trail of a boat, but that theory's been thrown out because there isn't any white frothy trails behind it as well. Many have guessed what this thing could potentially be, but no one's come up with a concrete explanation. My best guess is the Hook Island sea monster. The Hook Island sea monster is actually something that we've discussed on this channel before. Hook Island, which is located in Australia, not too far away from New Zealand, has a legend that surrounds its waters of a massive long sea creature. First spotted in 1964 by a family, this creature was described as being a massively long serpent that's black and dark brown in color. It's got a huge head with large sharp gaping teeth. Apparently this creature was said to be unlike any animal the family had ever seen before, and was a very scary cross between between a giant snake and a shark. Obviously, it's impossible to know for sure, but the outline of the creature in our Google Earth photo looks a lot like what I would expect this sea monster to look like. The swim from Australia all the way to New Zealand would be a long one, but it's not impossible to think that a creature of this size would be capable of the trek. Potentially, its food reserves were starting to run dry in its natural habitat and had to migrate to the waters of New Zealand. The sightings of this beast over at Hook Island have gotten fewer and further between as time has went on, and maybe it's just because it isn't there anymore. Comment down below what you guys think might be causing this strange shadow in the water. I'm curious to hear what theories you can all come up with. Number 1 on this list is Davie Lee Niles. Davie Lee Niles was a Michigan man who was 72 years old and went missing back in 2006. Police searched for quite some time, but for the life of them had no idea where Davie went. He just disappeared from the face of the earth. Well, 9 years later, someone was able to make the discovery. Apparently, someone was decorating a Christmas tree, and while they were up there, noticed something submerged in the lake. They contacted police and they came to take it out of the water. They didn't do this before someone got an image of it on Google Earth though. In this picture, you can see the outline of a car. That car belonged to Davie Lee Niles. When the police went to investigate and pulled the car out of the lake, they found a body in it as well. They weren't able to recover any teeth from said body, and it was in very rough shape, but they said that they have no reason to believe that it wouldn't be the body of Davie Lee Niles. Apparently the water is far too murky up close, but at a distance, like the one you get on Google Earth, you're able to make out the outline of the car. This is super creepy and just one of those images that sticks with you. That car would have been sitting there for over 9 years without anyone realizing. Think about how many times somebody pulled into the parking lot and was unknowingly only a few meters away from a dead body. It also makes you wonder, how many times does something like this happen in our lives? Obviously this is a rare occurrence, but is it possible that there are other things that have gone completely unnoticed on the ground that from Google Earth we'd be able to pick up on them immediately? Also, this entire mystery begs the question, how did Davie Lee Niles and his car get to the bottom of that lake in the first place? A question that's probably still haunting investigators to this day. Number 5 on this list is alien wheels. We've all heard the stories before about strange symbols and signs appearing in cornfields. Things that can only be seen from a bird's eye view and don't make any sense for a human to have done. Well, this next discovery definitely falls under that same category. The image here has some very interesting wheels that are etched into the earth. These wheels vary in size and shape, but also have a lot of similarities too, and look to have been created by the same entity. They're located in the Azraq Oasis of Jordan. Now, relatively speaking, this is pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Not a lot of people reside in this area of the world, and it really begs the question how on earth these wheels got here, and also why are they here in the first place? Well, these alien wheels aren't new by any means. In fact, they've been etched into our planet for roughly 8,500 years. That is a long freaking time ago, and makes it so that there's no record of any human doing this. Scientists have been studying these Earth drawings for quite some time and can't seem to come up with a reason why humans would have put them here. Some of them have theorized that it has to do with the sun and potentially the winter and summer solstice. However, that's never been confirmed, and it's just a theory that's been thrown around. Many extraterrestrial believers think that this is some solid proof of an alien presence though. Thousands of years ago, aliens came down and drew these circles into the earth to leave their mark behind. Maybe they drew them there so they would know where they've been if they ever came back, or maybe it's for some other alien reason that we just simply aren't privy to. I don't think that we can look at this and immediately say that it was aliens who did it, but it's also hard to immediately say that it was humans either. They certainly look pretty eerie when looking at them from above, and I feel like they can't just be some ancient civilization's attempt at art. They have to serve some sort of purpose. Comment down below what you think these wheels were for and who put them there to begin with. Number 4 on this list is a secret church. The Church of Scientology has often been critiqued due to various controversies since their inception and their overall system of beliefs in general. According to their website, Scientology is a religion that offers a precise path leading to a complete and certain understanding of one's true spiritual nature and one's relationship to self, family, groups, mankind, all life forms, the material universe, the spiritual universe, and the Supreme Being. Now, according to Wikipedia, this Supreme Being is Xenu, also called Zemu, who was the dictator of the Galactic Confederacy who brought billions of people to Earth in DC-8 like spacecraft 75 million years ago, stacked them around volcanoes, and then killed them with hydrogen bombs. This is all part of the Scientology religion and what the devout followers believe in. Therefore, this religion has some deep ties to space and the universe since the supreme being came from space. Well, this image of two massive diamonds inside of two even bigger circles in New Mexico certainly sticks out as an area of importance to that community. In fact, author John Sweeney has claimed that this spot is the home to a secret church underground belonging to the Church of Scientology. Whether this is true or not has yet to be confirmed, but church aside, what are these symbols in the earth doing there? It's already pretty mysterious if the church was to have a secret bunker there, but if they don't, then it honestly gets even more mysterious. If the Church of Scientology didn't put these markings here, then who did? These are very accurate circles and diamonds and looks to have been done by somebody who knew what they were doing. So either we're looking at a secret church bunker or potential extraterrestrial interference with the planet. Either way, both things are pretty crazy, and I can certainly see how the first person to discover this image would have been a little freaked out. Let me know in the comments down below again, what do you think caused these massive symbols, cause I honestly have no idea. Number 3 on this list is a giant bunny. Yep, you heard that right guys, a giant bunny can be spotted on Google Earth if you head to the Piedmont region of Italy. This thing isn't as scary as it is just freaking weird. It isn't a live bunny or anything like that, just a massive pink rabbit. The kind of rabbit that you may buy for your kid as a plush toy, just maybe not this big because it wouldn't fit in your home. In fact, if we look at the image, we can see that this bunny is literally bigger than an entire home that it is next to. And it isn't just a little bit bigger either, this rabbit absolutely dwarfs that house. So why on earth is there a massive rabbit just chilling in the middle of Piedmont, Italy? How did it get there and why are we not doing something about it? Well, luckily for mankind, this isn't some corpse of a massive bunny race that's coming for human flesh. In fact, it's a piece of a really large art collection. The rabbit is 60 meters in length and about 5 meters off the ground and was put there by an art group named Gelatin in 2005. I'm not really sure why this group decided to put a massive bunny rabbit atop a 1,600 meter tall hill in Italy, but I also fade grade 7 art, so my artistic opinion isn't really the best. Either way, if I was discovering this thing for the first time on Google Earth and had no idea what this art project was, then I'd definitely be a little bit freaked out. Sadly, the bunny rabbit is mostly decomposed of now, and there isn't too much left of it considering it's been there for over 10 years. But this also begs the question, how many other plush animals are just waiting to be discovered on Google Earth? Number 2 on this list is a secret military base. So I live in Toronto, Canada, and living in Toronto, Canada, you hear a lot about the secret military bases in North America. Area 51 is by far the most famous, and growing up, everyone was familiar with the legends that surrounded it. I personally still remember talking with my friends at recess and guessing what crazy alien tech could be kept secret there. I imagine that this isn't the only secret base in the world though, but potentially the one that, based on where I grew up, I'm most familiar with. Well, for those who grew up in Asia, they might be more familiar with the secret military base that's located in the Gobi Desert. The Gobi Desert spans across large parts of Mongolia and some of northern China. The base in question is in the northern China area of said desert, very hidden from the public's eye. People are speculating that it's so hidden and out in the middle of nowhere because some very secretive experiments are getting done there. Not a lot of people live out in the Gobi Desert, making it a pretty much perfect spot to work on some very advanced and secret technologies. The craziest thing about this base is the elaborate maze-like thing that stretches for over 30 kilometers in length. This is thought to be used as some weather tracking device, although it's far too advanced for me to even begin to comprehend and it's just super high tech. Many theorists have thought this place is a secret space base and could be holding some extraterrestrial technology that we don't know about. If Area 51 is any indication, then we may never figure out what's truly going down behind the walls of this massive base in the desert. Number 1 on this list is a ghost girl. This one is definitely creepy and has the most potential out of all these images to haunt you. Not quite found on Google Earth, found on Google Maps Street View, one can see the distinct image of a ghostly looking child peering out from behind a tree. This image was captured back in 2018 and is of the Martha Chapel Cemetery in Texas. Considering it's a cemetery and we're already among the dead, having the ghost of a dead girl potentially haunting that area isn't totally unbelievable. It should also be noted that in the corner on the left there's a dark figure in the cemetery. Some people have speculated that this could be a demon in its own right and that this cemetery is just riddled with ghouls of all kinds. Also, when you zoom in on the little girl behind the tree, you see that she doesn't really have a lot of color to her. she looks to be almost totally gray. If she wasn't completely gray, then it could be possible that a girl was just playing hide and seek when this image was captured, but the color certainly convinces me that something might be up here. If you ever find yourself in Texas, then maybe make this cemetery a spot to avoid going if you can.
Coming in at number 5, abandoned gas masks. Pripyat, Ukraine is a ghost city in northern Ukraine near the Ukraine-Belarus border. Named after the nearby Pripyat River, the city was founded on February 4th, 1970 as the 9th nuclear city in the Soviet Union to serve their nearby Chernobyl nuclear power plant. It was officially proclaimed a city in 1979 and had grown to a population of 49,360 by the time it was evacuated on the afternoon of April 27, 1986, the day after the Chernobyl disaster. This was of course a nuclear disaster that occurred on Saturday, April 26 in 1986 at the number 4 nuclear reactor in the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. It is considered the worst nuclear disaster in history and is one of only 2 nuclear energy disasters rated at 7, the maximum severity on the International Nuclear Event Scale, the other being the 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan. Pripyat is now quite literally a ghost town with abandoned buildings that won't be inhabited for a very long time. Now this has all been captured on Google Maps where you can see the abandoned town stuck motionless in time. However, the creepiest sight in the whole area has to be the room full of abandoned gas masks. Now whether this is creepy because of the sheer amount of them or simply because they are child-sized located in an abandoned school, I just don't know. But it is very creepy to look at. Coming in at number 4, Scientology Base. Also known as Trementina Base, this is a popular designation for a property of the Scientology-affiliated Church of Spiritual Technology near Trementina, New Mexico. According to the church, an entity formed to manage the Church of Scientology's copyright affairs, the purpose of the base is to provide storage space for an archiving project to preserve Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard's writings, films, recordings for future generations. Hubbard's texts have been engraved on stainless steel tablets and encased in titanium capsules underground. This project began back in the 1980s. Now this base looks absolutely terrifying from Google Maps. It's just 2 overlapping circles with diamond shapes in their centers. It's an odd creation which has caused some people to believe that the real purpose of the base is to signal aliens making their way to Earth. However, an ex-Scientologist adamantly denied the claims and that insisted it is to guide other members towards the works of L. Ron Hubbard. Coming in at number 2, Ariel Castro's blurred out house. Now to begin, Ariel Castro was an absolutely disgusting person, as evil as they come. Back in 2002 to 2004, he kidnapped Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Georgina Gina De Jesus, and held them captive in his home in the Tremont neighborhood of Cleveland, Ohio. The 3 girls were imprisoned up until May 6, 2013, when Berry escaped with her 6-year-old daughter, to whom she had given birth to while imprisoned, and contacted the police. The women were rescued within hours and Castro was arrested. Castro was ultimately charged with 4 counts of kidnapping and 3 counts of He pleaded guilty to 837 criminal counts as part of a plea bargain and was sentenced to life plus 1,000 years in prison without the possibility of parole. 1 month into his sentence though, he committed suicide by himself with his bedsheets in his cell. So how exactly is this crime related to Google Maps? Well, the house Castro kept the women in can be seen on Google Street View. However, the house is completely blurred out. Can't tell what's creepier, the idea of seeing the house standing motionless or seeing it blurred out. The latter somehow makes the seriousness of the crime even more disturbing. And finally, coming in at number 1, Nagoro, Japan. Nagoro, now known as Nagoro Doll Village, is a village in the Aya Valley on the island of Shikoku in Tokushima Prefecture, Japan. It is known for the large quantity of realistic dolls positioned throughout the village, in turn making Nagoro a tourist attraction. Now, the village itself is located on Route 439 in the Aya Valley in a remote mountainous area. It formerly had around 300 inhabitants, however the decline in Japan's population caused it to fall to 35 by January 2015, 30 as of August 2016, and 27 by September 2019. Now, what is the backstory behind the village and its unique dolls? Well, in the early 2000s, Tuskimi Aono, whose family left the area when she was a child, moved back to Nagoro to look after her father, and made a doll in his likeness that she placed in a field. Since that day, she has made more than 400 dolls, and about 350 of them are in the village. Many of the dolls resemble former residents, while others are invented people. Now, Aona isn't the only one to craft these creepy-looking dolls. Others quickly followed in her footsteps. The village school, which ultimately closed in 2012, includes a large number of dolls in one classroom. 2 children children as self-portraits for the last 2 students to study there, who dressed them in their own clothes. The village has since become a tourist attraction and is now known as Nagoro Doll Village, which you can easily spot on Google Maps.